Hello and welcome to Behind the Lines. I'm Diane Dayton. Today we're going to talk about Power Packs Project. We're with the Executive Director, Brad Peterson. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Diane, for having me.
This is such an important project, and it has an interesting story how it started. I know I talked to Joan Espenshade way back in the day, but please, for those who don't know how this started.
Sure. So back in 2005, Joan was volunteering at Carter McRae Elementary right here on South Prince Street in Lancaster. Monday morning after Monday morning, she kept seeing kids lined up at the nurse's station. And when she finally asked why, the nurse told her it's because the kids hadn't eaten all weekend and they had a bellyache.
Wow.
I always say, God bless Joan. Joan said, I can't let that happen here where I live in Lancaster County. And that was the genesis for Power Packs. Wow. She launched what she loves to call a kitchen table committee.
Yeah.
Because they worked out of her house for 4 years. She and her husband, family, friends, people I went to church with, and they identified 14 families at Carter McRae, and they went out and bought groceries for those families on Fridays so the kids had something to eat over the weekend when they didn't have their school meals.
Wow. So, yeah, this works throughout the year, but also in the summer as well, right?
Yeah, so we do, depending on the calendar falls, a 34 or 35 week school year program, and then we also do a 9-week summer program, which we're in the midst of right now.
Okay. Wow. There's a lot food insecurity that we don't know about. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the trend line's going the opposite direction than what we would like, unfortunately. The latest numbers from Feeding America, which are from 2023, in the state of Pennsylvania, about 1.7 million people are food insecure. In Lancaster County, it's about 65,000.
Wow.
And over a third of those are children.
How do we define food insecure?
The best way to describe it is someone who may not know where the next meal is coming from.
Oh, wow. Okay.
People use food insecurity and hunger interchangeably.
Yes.
Hunger is the result of food insecurity.
Right. So that's where we want to get them, so we don't have that.
Correct. And there are levels of food insecurity, the way the USDA defines it. There's high food insecurity, low food insecurity. We're really trying to help those people who have very low food insecurity and at least move them up one rung of the ladder, so they are not struggling skipping meals,
yes,
portioning their foods, things like that.
Right. So the areas that you serve are Lancaster, York, and Lebanon. Is that correct?
That is correct. We are currently serving, what we do is we partner with school districts and serve the families in those districts. We're in 17 total school districts, 10 in Lancaster County, 5 in Lebanon County, and 2 in York County. And I will say that we're adding one more in Lancaster County this coming fall.
Wow. So how do you get these relationships with the schools with this?
A lot of networking.
Yeah, I would think so.
And a lot of it is reputation, to be perfectly honest.
Right.
Social workers talk. We added 2 school districts this past school year, Red Lion in York and Conestoga Valley. A teacher in Conestoga Valley had previously worked in Lancaster School District. I had been talking to them for a couple years, but she became our advocate on the inside.
Wow.
And they decided that this was something they really needed to help their families who were struggling with food insecurity.
And that is so important. If you are hungry, you can't learn.
Yeah.
You know?
Hungry kids just can't learn.
Yeah.
I was at an event with Russell Redding, the Pennsylvania Secretary of Agriculture, a few years ago, and he made a comment that has stuck with me, that you can have many problems in life, but if you're hungry, you only have one problem.
Yeah.
And that is so true.
Wow. So let's look at some of the numbers that we have here. I mean, you've been doing a lot. So how many have been fed? Let's look at those numbers.
So, as I mentioned, Joan started with 14 families at Carter McRae.
Right.
This past school year, we were serving about 1,700 families a week.
Wow.
About 9,000 people were receiving Power Packs every week. We provided just under 600,000 meals this past school year to all of those families, which is a huge increase from the year before, up over 30%.
Yeah.
And we're still doing our summer program now, so those numbers will increase as we measure our year.
Right.
We'll be over 800,000 pounds for the year, or 800,000 pounds and about 700,000 meals.
Wow. So we're doing this in 2025, so it is now 20 years too.
Yeah.
Since Joan started this. But what makes you different and what makes you unique, I think, is so important, because it's not just about feeding the child, it's the family, because it is a family situation.
Right. Our mission is to empower families to make better, healthier food choices and to educate them around the food they're receiving and how they can be healthier.
Yes.
Our model is different than a lot of other weekend programs, which usually only give kid-friendly food,
Right.
and doesn't do anything to diminish food insecurity for the entire family. Each week we give the families a recipe and all the ingredients for that recipe, as nutritious as we can possibly make it.
Right.
They also get shelf pantry items like peanut butter, cereal, things like that. There's always fresh produce. We give them fresh milk. There's always a protein of some kind as
Okay.
well.
Wow. There's bread there too? Yeah.
Bread when we can get it. Bread is a
Okay.
little harder to
Is that
get
harder to get?
donations and sometimes, but when we can.
So where do you get the food? So you're talking about the donations.
So most of our non-perishables come from Central Pennsylvania Food Bank,
Okay.
the big regional food bank in Harrisburg. We purchase our milk from Kreider Farms. We get produce from local growers. I mean, we're in the summer now. We're
Yeah.
anxiously awaiting harvest season.
Yes, right.
We have some local farms and regional farms. We have a big farm in northern Maryland we work with as well. It's an
Okay.
incredible mission. Almost
Wow.
a 300-acre farm. Everything they grow, they donate.
Wow.
So we're anxious to get the locally grown stuff. When it's not harvest season, we purchase some produce. We go to Philadelphia to work with an organization down there, Mid-Atlantic Regional Co-op. They rescue produce off the docks,
Oh, okay.
and we get a lot of produce from them as well.
How did that even come about?
Well, a former co-worker of mine at Central Pennsylvania Food Bank is the executive director of that organization. It was an easy ask.
Yeah, there you go. What is about that connections and those relationships
Exactly.
and people working together?
Exactly. I mean, I'm always out in the community looking for more relationships, more donations, or things that we can purchase at a discount so we can get the best food possible onto the tables of families who need it.
Yeah. Well, I love the whole fact that you are into doing the nutritional education, because that's what's going to sustain, right?
Yes. Yeah, you know, the old proverb, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make him drink. You can give a man a fish.
Yeah.
If you teach him to fish, he'll eat
Yes.
for a lifetime.
Absolutely.
And that's what we want to do. We want to teach families how they can eat healthier. We're really ramping up our nutrition education. In our strategic plan, one of our main priorities was to put together a nutrition education committee. So we now have some people lined up from retailers, from Penn State Health, from other nonprofits to even do more nutrition education. And we're actually looking to do some cooking classes as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That would be great. How would that start to manifest?
So we'll find a space to do that.
Right.
We'll maybe bring in some local chefs or culinary students.
Right.
And we'll take one of our recipes.
Yes.
And we'll prepare it and videotape it and put it up on our website, up on our social media, so everyone can see exactly how to prepare what we're giving them.
All these legs, it makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. And speaking of legs, we need volunteers. We need legs, we need hands. How do you go about getting volunteers? And how many volunteers does it even take?
So I love telling people, so I told you, 700,000 meals, whatever. We're a staff of 6.
Okay. Wow.
Lots of volunteers, lots and lots of volunteers. We had over 6,000 volunteer hours last year.
Okay.
But we can always use more. People to help pack, people to help with administrative duties, people to deliver food and help distribute the food.
Right.
We can never, ever have too many volunteers.
And how do we go about being a volunteer? Do we go online, call you? Or?
Yeah, go on our website, reach out to us. There's a link right there to take you right to our volunteer coordinator, and we can find how we can best use your talents.
Well, so we have an idea for people who are watching. What are some of the things that volunteers would be doing?
One of the big activities that a lot of people like to do is actually pack the packs in our
Okay.
warehouse.
Yep.
It's something very tangible. They
Sure.
understand exactly what they're
Yes.
doing and where that food is going.
Okay.
But we have a lot of volunteers who help us weekly with helping with data entry, all of our enrollment and
Right.
tracking our inventory and all of those kinds of things.
Yeah.
All things that are essential to our daily operations.
Okay, so we can find a place for you, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the website is Packs, plural, project.org.
Correct.
Okay, so
Yes.
that has everything on it
Yes.
too. Well, there's so much more that we have to talk about, but we're going to take a brief pause. When we come back, you're just going to learn the major difference and the magnitude of what Power Packs is doing. Stay with us. You're watching Lancaster Community TV, LCTV 66. Welcome back to Behind the Lines. We're talking about Power Packs, and we're with Brad Peterson. Wow, what you're doing is amazing. And you have nonprofits, local partners that you're partnering with. Expound on that.
So there are a lot of different ways we partner with local
Okay.
nonprofits. Blessings of Hope is one. Obviously, we get food from them. We do events together sometimes.
Okay.
Girls on the Run, which is such a
Oh,
great
yeah.
organization, and our missions align so much. It's all about healthy
Yep.
eating, well-being, and things like that. For their big events, we supply the end-of-race snacks for the girls and their partners who are running.
Oh, okay.
But we partner with so many different organizations through coalitions that we're a part of. I actually met with someone from the Loft in Millersville today.
Okay.
Who's a distribution site for Power Packs.
Ah, all right.
And we're talking about how we can have a more beneficial partnership to provide even better and more food to the families who are just picking up their packs there. I've had conversations with Lancaster Food Hub,
Right.
with Edible Classroom, with Solenco Neighborhood Ministries, the Factory Ministries out in Paradise, so
Right.
many places. We're all looking to do the best we can, not duplicate services,
Right.
and make sure that the families who are in need are getting exactly what they deserve and what they need to put food on the table.
Yeah. So to determine if you are a family in need, how do you qualify?
Typically, a family qualifies for Power Packs if you qualify for free and reduced meals in school.
Okay.
That's maybe not 100% true, but it's probably 99% true.
Okay.
There's one federal form families have to fill out, a self-declaration of need, that the USDA requires us because we get USDA commodities.
Okay.
Families fill that out once a year, and then they can go on our website, talk to their social worker at school. They'll point them in the right direction. They sign up for Power Packs, and they can receive Power Packs for a week, 2 weeks, a
Right.
month, or a year, as long as they need it.
So how are you funded as a nonprofit?
Our funding is roughly thirds. I tell people
Okay.
that's not exactly that. About a third individual donations, about a third corporate donations, and about a third grants.
Okay.
A lot of grant writing.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Now, there's something really exciting that I think we need to talk about, and that's your research partners. This is amazing.
So we have a partnership with the Child Development Social Policy Lab. It's been going on now for about 5 years. They are 3 professors, one from Georgetown, one from Duke, one from the University of Chicago.
Okay.
They study child food insecurity across the entire country. And they've been doing quantitative research for us for 3 or 4 years now, asking how families use the food they're receiving. What do they like? What do they don't like? Things like that. And they have told us, by the way, because they study this all across the country, that they have not seen another model like ours anywhere in the United States.
Wow.
That right here in Lancaster, we are truly unique in the entire country.
Yeah.
What they started doing this past school year for us is a qualitative study.
Okay.
They are working with our 2 biggest school districts, Lebanon and Lancaster, and they are receiving academic data and absenteeism data for the students who are receiving Power Packs.
Oh, wow.
This is a 2-year study. It will be ongoing through the 25-26 school year. And we're hoping when this comes in and the data will show that the kids who are receiving Power Packs are doing better in school than the kids, their peers, who are not receiving Power Packs.
Wow.
To show that we're really making a difference academically for these kids,
Yeah.
which in the long run helps lift them out of the cycle of generational poverty.
Yes.
Helps them education-wise, because as we know, as we talked about, hungry kids can't learn. So we're really hoping
Right.
that's what that shows.
Wow, this is amazing. The nutritional aspect is the thing I keep going back to on this, because I think that's really what sets you above and beyond with what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, nutrition is paramount to us. It is the ultimate priority. That's why there's always some kind of a fresh produce. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why there's fresh milk there's nothing more nutritious for a child
Yeah.
than fresh milk. When I started at Power Packs a little over 5 years ago, we were giving out powdered milk. Yuck.
Yeah. Right.
I won't drink it. I said I'm not
Right.
giving it to anybody else.
Yes.
And shelf-stable milk, which is marginally better.
Yeah.
My biggest priority was implementing fresh milk. It's not easy for us to do it.
Right.
But it's such a necessity for kids to get the nutritional value of that fresh milk.
Wow.
So we took the plunge, and we're getting fresh milk to kids so they can have all the benefits that gives them.
One of the things I think is interesting about your website as well is some of the testimonials from parents and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because that's the difference that you're really making for the whole family. That's really phenomenal, Brad.
Yeah, we had a 20th anniversary event a few months ago to celebrate, and we had a former parent and a current parent both speak at that event, and it still gives me chills to think about what they said, the impact they talked about the Power Packs had and has on their families now. You know, we hear one thing from families all the time, that they struggle so much to think about what they're going to prepare for their families.
Yes.
But they always know one night a week when they get their Power Pack, they know that recipe is there, and they know that night that's what they're making, and they don't have to think about it, and it will be great for their family.
And I think sometimes, too, their children are active participants in the preparation, too, which brings together the family and is another way to educate the kids as well.
We encourage the families to prepare the meal together, to sit down and have that meal together, build that family dynamic, strengthen that, because stronger families is stronger communities.
Absolutely.
And it gives kids some real life skills, so when they get out on their own, you know, they know how to peel a potato or chop a carrot.
Yes.
And how to prepare a meal.
Yes, absolutely. We've talked about a lot of different things. What haven't we covered that you think we should know about, Brad?
You know, just that, you know, we're trying to make a dent in food insecurity. Unfortunately, we keep seeing more and more people coming to us. We have more school districts that are coming to us to ask. In the last 6 months to a year, I've had school districts from Lancaster and York, Adams, Cumberland, Dauphin, Berks, Chester, and Luzerne counties ask about possible partnerships with Power Packs.
Wow. Wow. You're going to be branching it. You're going to need more staff, too.
Well, we're going to need more staff. We're going to need more funding.
More volunteers.
More volunteers. For us, you know, we would love to say yes to everyone.
Yes.
But we need to be sustainable also.
Right.
Adding 1 or 2 school districts a year is a lot for us, depending on the size of the school district.
Sure.
So as we want to continue to grow, and we just added 5,000 square feet of warehouse space and a huge walk-in cooler, anticipating the growth that we're going to need to be able to continue to meet the need.
Right.
So it's a matter of us finding the funding to help us continue to meet that need, to continue to say yes to the school districts and families who need food assistance.
Where are you physically located?
So we have our main warehouse in Greenfield, just down the road from Costco.
Okay.
And we have a second warehouse in Lebanon County as well.
Okay. So that's where the two of them are.
Yeah.
All right. And then York was added. How recently was that? I think, was there 2?
We added 2 years ago, we added Eastern York School District.
Okay.
And last year we added Red Lion. We used the hunger study that the food bank did in York County. We're using that in Lancaster County now to look at the areas that really need assistance.
Okay.
Red Lion and Eastern York made sense because high food insecurity, low food distribution, but also logistically, they're on the western end of the county for us to get food there. As we start looking at more areas in York County, we may need to look for a facility in York County as well.
Yeah, and therefore more partners.
Yes.
Yeah, so it just keeps going.
Yeah.
This is just amazing. So once again, we're going to send them to the website, which is
powerpacksproject.org.
And what is everything that we're going to find on there, Brad, when you go in?
You mentioned you'll see testimonials.
Yeah.
You'll find our recipe hub if you want to look at our recipes.
That's good. You can look up recipes.
You can see how to volunteer. You can donate.
Okay.
You can advocate for us.
Yes.
All of those things. If you want to share your time, talent, and treasure with us, you can all find that on our website.
Yeah, well, that's great. And you're on social media as well?
We are. Facebook, Instagram, I have a personal LinkedIn account, which basically it's all about Power Packs.
It's all about Power Packs, okay.
You can find us at any of those as well.
So is it under Power Packs Project or just Power Packs? Or
Power Packs Project.
Okay,
Yes.
which is the official name, although we call you Power Packs because we know.
Everyone calls us Power Packs.
Everybody calls you Power Packs. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking your time and the difference that you're really making in the community. It does make a difference for you going in every day, knowing the impact that you're having in our community, doesn't it?
Yeah, Diane, this isn't really a job.
No.
This is my passion. I've been doing this for years. Before I came to Power Packs, I was working, doing the same thing elsewhere. It's pretty good going to bed at night and putting your head on the pillow, knowing that maybe someone who wouldn't have eaten otherwise got food from you today.
Yeah, and we can all help with that.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving us all this information, all the resources, and explaining how it works and the real difference that it's making. That's key.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you, Brad, and thank you for joining us today, too. I'm Diane Dayton with Behind the Lines, reminding you to look behind the lines. You might be surprised what you find.